Welcome to PCP, the Pixel Clicks podcast. I'm Jordan, and today's show is brought to you by Loot Crate, who we are not sponsored by. I'm
Yeah.
also drinking Virgil's Root Beer, who we're also not sponsored by. Anyway, as always, I am not alone. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Let's start with you, Mr. Hole in His Face.
Very polite.
Yeah.
Very polite.
I have a hole in my face. The name's still Shane, but there's a hole in this general area which liquid is capable of coming out of.
They call me
So,
Shane,
I need
whole-faced
to insert
carpenter.
I need to insert a correction. His name was Shane. Now it is where I keep my buried treasure inside of his mouth.
All right, how about Mr. PC Master himself?
Oh, what's up? My name's Cody.
I like
Yeah.
that you knew exactly.
Damn right. Well,
and the improv comedian and director himself.
Hey,
damn right.
Anyway.
I'm drinking a sparkling ice black raspberry, and it has 0 calories and 10% of everything.
Well, you know what has lots of calories and is delicious?
What?
Virgil's all natural root beer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
We're
I like to
not
spray
sponsored
when my
by-
room gets smelly? Febreze. It's great.
I'm just
Well-
drinking agua.
Well, when my room gets smelly, I have to use Ren use it after the rain scented whatever this is.
When my room smells, it usually smells like my balls because I don't clean anything.
Anyway, let's.
If you have a hole in the side of your mouth, use Motrin.
To your defense, though, I'm sure like my balls smell worse than anything inside the hole in your mouth, in your face.
We are not sponsored by any of these things, aside for Sergio's smelly balls.
Yep.
Anyway, let's get into what's been happening in the wonderful world of video games, which isn't a lot.
Yeah. It's another week.
However, there was
Yes.
something really big that just happened recently, and that is the legendary Hideo Kojima is going to leave Konami.
So long, farewell, vida say adieu.
So this sucks.
Yeah.
Because basically, Hideo Kojima and Konami, they had a falling out, and basically, Konami now considers Hideo Kojima and his team contractors, so they're effectively not a part of the company anymore.
I wondered if it had to do with like them saying, "No, you're gonna make Metal Gear forever."
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but honestly, Konami's kind of shooting themselves in the foot because if you think about what games Konami has out, the main 3 are Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. All 3.
Is he still gonna make Silent Hill?
That's the thing. Silent Hills is now in limbo because who knows if he's going to continue working on that. Maybe maybe Konami's just going to replace him with someone else. But that's dumb because he's helming those three franchises, and he's the one who did turn around Castlevania, but then part 2 just got messed up. And
I bought that game, so I made a live stream it just to see what everyone's talking about.
Oh, I really want to know how you feel about that game. And yes, he was also helming Silent Hills along with Guillermo del Toro. So we don't know what's going to happen with that game. All we know is that Hideo Kojima-san and his team, they're going to finish out Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and then that's it. They're done with Konami.
You know what I gotta say is poor Guillermo del Toro. I mean, that guy can't catch a break. First Insanity, then the game. Oh, jeez.
It's just awful.
Guillermo del so-sado.
Well, I think it's kind of ironic that this news came out, though, because I was just thinking back to how before Metal Gear Solid 5 was officially announced, they were doing the whole fake studio.
Moby Dick Studios.
Yeah, a fake
It
game
can actually
studio,
make it.
fake lead, and everything. And I was like, maybe that was actually a hint back then from Hideo Kojima that he didn't want to be under
Maybe.
Konami anymore.
I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, honestly, if anything's going to happen, Kojima and his team, they're just going to make Kojima Productions into its own standalone development company,
Yeah.
or call it Fox Studios. Not Fox Studios. That'd be bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be Fox Studios.
maybe Fox Die Studios. That'd be fine.
Yeah, Fox.
Foxcatcher. What?
Megan Fox.
There was another report saying that Konami was going to continue the Metal Gear series anyway, even without Kojima,
Yeah.
and that makes no goddamn sense because when you think Metal Gear, you think Kojima because that's
Yeah,
his.
but as you
game.
just said, they only really have 3 franchises, and Metal Gear is probably the biggest of the 3.
It is.
Yeah.
So
Hands down the biggest.
You know,
of course they're gonna want to milk that cow as much as they can.
Yeah,
That looked
they're
really
still
weird. Yeah.
2K is still gonna make Bioshocks even without Kevin Levine. So that's what they said their plan was. So
Yeah.
it's the
But
same
granted,
thing.
The first time they did that was with Bioshock 2, and that game was okay.
Hmm?
Yeah,
It was
it was
okay.
alright.
Minerva's
You know-
Den was fantastic, but the rest of it was
Hey,
just okay.
there you go. Give them Minerva's Den. You know, they did one thing right.
Okay, I don't know. I feel like they shouldn't continue with Metal Gear because Kojima even said that 5 is the last one. He doesn't want to work on it anymore because
Because he's quitting. That's why.
possibly. But I mean, Konami still has things like Contra or arcade games.
Isn't Tekken
He-
Konami?
You know.
No, that's Namco. I mean, yeah, that's Namco. That's Bandai Namco.
He's always wanted to be a movie director, so maybe he could do that too.
But he already is a movie director. It's called Metal Gear Solid.
Hey.
I love that movie. That movie's pretty dope.
78 hours. So yeah,
I don't care
that's
I don't care what anyone says. I love watching those cutscenes. I wish
I do too.
each cutscene were 2 hours long.
Like I loved how the ending to MGS4 was literally a 30-minute movie.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. I didn't want. I was praying to the gods that the gameplay was over so I could just watch for the rest of the time. And,
Yes,
and
it
it,
is.
we're happened. It happened.
It happened. It just kept on going. There's like 3 endings. It's like
It
the
even
end
had a
of
Skeletor at the end where a teaser came out. where
yeah,
he's, you know.
yeah,
Ah.
Yeah. Skeletor. Ah.
yeah. So Kojima leaving that's sad news. I don't expect there to be another Castlevania Lords of Shadow game. I don't expect there to be anything else after Silent Hills comes out. Like I don't think that franchise is going to continue in the way it is now, at least.
Yeah, I wonder
And-
how far along that game it actually is.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
think it's that far at all.
Hmm.
And because I mean, Kojima's already way too busy with Metal Gear.
It's the
So-
same. PT was so good, you know. It's
It was.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, if PT just stayed exactly how it was, but expanded on the story, it'd be perfect.
I know. I mean, I love Parent Trap. You know what I'm talking about? He made
Parent Trap was just such a
made PT.
phenomenal game.
Parent Trap.
I mean, Lisa was there, trapping everybody in their hallways. It's perfect.
Parent Trap the game. That would be a wonderful video game for the record.
You get to pick Lindsay Lohan or Lindsay Lohan.
And then
One
you
of
have
the
to trap your
Lindsays.
parents. One of the many Lindsays.
It's basically
I got-
Home Alone, but parents.
I got stuck in a sarcophagus, Lindsay. Oh man, that's weird.
But yeah, so another big announcement that happened this week was Nintendo has announced their next gen console, the NX, which of course that's just a filler name, and that they are going to go into mobile development. So they're going to come out with games for mobile phones, for smartphones. They teamed up with a company called Dina, they're spelled DNA basically.
DNA, yeah.
Who they are known for making like an all-in-one accounts for mobile games. So Apparently,
It's about goddamn time.
yeah, I mean, like Satoru Iwata, he made it clear that we're still gonna be doing, all of our first party stuff. Our great stuff is going to our new console and other consoles, and everything that just like filler stuff is going to the mobile games. So what all I'm hoping for is like a Mario Endless Runner or something like that. Like it's cool. It's cool that it exists. I'm not gonna play it, but
I
hey,
want Pokemon on my phone.
So, with regards to the NX, I'm still in shock a little bit that they're just gonna let the Wii U die. It's just like
well, let's be honest. The second a console comes out, they're already working on the next hardware anyway.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is this is way earlier than any of the other ones. I mean, yes, everyone's working on it. It's just that this one is probably going to release in 2 years.
Well, the problem is, I think Nintendo is still trying to play catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So they are rushing through consoles because they were ahead with the Wii, but that was because it was selling like hotcakes. And then they realized that just because they had a gimmick, it wasn't getting them as far as it should be. And so they put the Wii U out thinking, okay, we'll give them updated graphics so that it matches the other competitors.
Yeah.
And it'll have like a touchscreen. Maybe it'll be a little more of interest to hardcore gamers.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't work that way, really.
Yeah. I feel like, regardless, we're gonna get more information about the Nintendo NX, whatever it's gonna be called, next year, and then we'll probably get an announcement of when that's coming out the following year, and it'll come out the year after that. So probably in 3 years we'll have a new Nintendo console. I feel like this is since they announced it so early. This is just Nintendo reacting to the abysmal sales of the Wii U. Like they have to do something. Don't worry, guys. We're working on a next gen console. It's coming out. I feel like they're doing this more for the investors and not for the consumers.
How high did it go up? It went up like 42%. Their stocks and all that. That's a crazy amount.
I'm worried about though what it means for games that are coming that haven't gotten an official like release date or anything for the Wii U, but are supposed to be like the big system sellers, like the new Zelda game.
Oh no, that's coming out. That's definitely coming out next year.
They're not gonna not let him come out. They're gonna do their thing, and then that'll be the end of it.
But my thing is, what if the new console is actually closer than everybody is thinking, and those games are now being pushed onto that?
That's not a Nintendo move at all. That's not what they do. That's not what they're about. They are a very traditional company, and they like to stick to their guns when it comes to things like this. If they said it's coming for the Wii U, it is coming to the Wii U. Like, granted, there might be a port of it to the next console, but that game is 100% coming to the Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah, just... Sure. I don't know. I'm more or less indifferent about the NX, which I'm pretty sure... I'm just hoping it doesn't have a stupid name like the new Wii U or something. Mm-hmm. Like, put a number on it or something. Put Wii 2 or call it a Super Wii or something.
Super Wii?
Give it something that is, identifiable.
Or move away from the dick names.
That would be good too. That'd really be good too. I mean, I still firmly believe like the reason why the Wii U did not sell well is because people were like, "Oh, it's just a Wii with a gamepad. I don't need to buy that." Because it sounds like it's just a new thing. The Wii U, oh, that's the gamepad, right? You know how many people have to tell? No, the Wii U is a new console that has a gamepad.
Yeah.
There's way too many people who get that confused. But I mean, to the common consumer, that's what it sounds like. It's just a Wii with a gamepad, and it's not it at all. It's a fantastic console. I bought so many things on it. Granted, right now it's just my Smash Bros. Machine, and Bayonetta too. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Exactly.
Yeah. um, what else happened this week?
That's pretty much it.
Were any notable releases?
Final Fantasy
Ah,
Type 0.
that's right. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy Type 0 HD came out for PS4. Is it just PS4?
PS4.
Just PS4.
Really? It's just PS4? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's PS4.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
just PS4.
yeah. So I picked that up mostly because it came with a demo of Final Fantasy 15, which is what I sunk most of my time into. But Final Fantasy Type 0 HD is a port of a PSP game that came out like 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, it came out around 4 years ago, and it was apparently it's a really great game that did well in Japan, but no one cared about it over here, so it didn't really get marketed all that much over here. So they up-resed it, so it looks like a PS3 game on the PS4, which is fine. I mean, it's a PSP game. They did a good job. If you play it, I hope you enjoy motion blur, because there's a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
Next gen graphics.
Oh yeah,
Motion blur.
The general gameplay of Type 0 HD is not your standard Final Fantasy game where it's turn-based. That turn-based is gone. Turn-based is not a thing anymore in Final Fantasy. Now it's more of a Kingdom Hearts-esque battle system.
Yep.
When you start out the game, you play as 3 different characters. There's Ace, who's the main character, Nine, which is a lancer, and Queen, who is a glass cannon. And if you've noticed, they all have names that are like a deck of cards, which is appropriate because Ace plays with throwing cards. He's basically Gambit. The battle system is, you push a button, they attack. So hold down or press square for normal attacks. Triangle is one of your abilities. It could be a magic attack or just an ability. Circle is your dodge button, and X is another ability. I think it's mostly a defensive or a curing spell. You can lock on the enemies, and this whole thing. It's basically just playing Kingdom Hearts again. You can equip 2 active commands and 1 defensive ability. That's basically it. And you could switch characters on the fly. So you usually have a party of 3. You can switch between any 3 of them during a fight. To best fit the scenario. Otherwise, it's just AI controlled and they do whatever the hell they want. It's a fun game so far. The story is crazy as balls. Right when you start the game, you get a 15-minute intro video that explains everything. It's a huge info dump, so it's a lot to take in. But they build the world so fast and so quickly. It's kind of a cool world. It's all about war, basically, and like the 4 different factions fighting each other. But enough about that, because I'm really interested in Final Fantasy 15. Which is what most people got Type 0 for anyway. Final Fantasy 15 has, for a demo, it's freaking beautiful. It's really, really good looking. I really, really like how it is so far. Again, the fighting style is like a Kingdom Hearts game. You have your attack button, you have your dodge abilities, you have magic attacks, special moves, whatever. Everything that your main character does is based off his magic, which replenishes over time. It's just an extremely, extremely beautiful game. Although, I'm interested to see how the final game is like, because this is just a demo, so many things could change, and this demo has nothing to do with the final game. It's just here's just like a scenario that could happen in the game but won't show up in the game at all, and just have fun with it. And that's what people are doing. That was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you like
Decompress.
JRPGs and you like Final Fantasy, I would say give it a shot, because it's cool. It's a nice world, and I like how all the voice acting is. They did it so their mouths actually match up to what they're saying in English, so that's new. Um, although I have to say, the main character's voice is not what I expected it to be. It's a lot deeper and raspier than I would expect. He looks like like a nice young guy, but his voice is like, oh yeah, that was really fun. It's like, okay, that's your voice, I guess.
Probably want to lay off the cigarettes. Guy.
Yeah, no, it sounds like he's a heavy smoker. Like really. But I mean, if you're into Japanese homies just hanging out with each other, driving in a car, hanging out in tents together, Final Fantasy 15 is your game.
All right.
And Insane Clown Posse would be your music.
So, for this week, guys, we decided we'd do something a little different, where we all go around and we say, what's our top 5 gaming moments? Now, to specify, gaming moments mean basically, what are those moments in gaming for you that kind of shaped your taste or how you enjoy games?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why I'm waving my arms around for this, but I'm waving my arms around for it.
So wait, should we go one at a time? Like,
Yeah.
like someone says their full top 5, and next one goes their full top 5, and so on and so on.
That sounds good.
Hell yeah.
All right.
I'm about that.
All right,
So-
let's do it that way.
We will have Sergio go first.
All right.
All right. Welcome to Jammin' Z90, where you get your top fixes in. All right, this is Sergio. The first top number 5 will be when you're playing the game, and then you find out that the guy from the movie Red Dead Redemption, the game, is about to die. That's probably one of the more
Oh, we
craziest
should.
moments.
We should say
Spoiler
there's gonna be so
warning.
many spoilers in this.
I almost forgot about that.
Remember that when
Spoiler
Eric,
alert.
remember when Aerith got stabbed? That was crazy.
So many spoilers coming up.
A 20-year-old spoiler with Aerith getting stabbed. Seriously, when Red Dead Redemption, when your main character dies,
Yeah.
that was like, man, games are something special now.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a difference between watching something amazing happen and then being part of it. And to have that experience of being a gunslinger and having your final hurrah and there's nothing you can do about it, man, that was quite the experience. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys have to say anything about it.
No, that was an amazing moment. I tried so hard to survive as long as possible, but then like when it gets to that last part where you walk out of the barn, it's just, well, you go into Deadeye and try to take out as many as possible, but there's just way too many guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You think you're gonna make it out alive. You
Yeah.
think that, and then you realize, this is really hopeless.
Yeah, there's no way to do it.
Which is cool too. To the moment directly after that, when you play as the son and he's an adult.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool kind of callback to what the whole story is culminating towards. Because you think you got to the end, but really that's like the epilogue you've just gotten into.
Yeah. Don't you have the option to let the dude live at the end?
Who would do that?
I know I didn't. I killed his
I
whole
didn't.
family.
I killed him hard into the lake, and his body drifted away.
Yeah. Before I did that, I shot his wife in the face.
Right in the face.
You married him.
My next gaming moment is oh man, it just escaped me. My next gaming. Oh, now I remember.
When Max Payne 3
it's
came
kinda-
out.
It's no, actually, just the entire ending of Metal Gear Solid 4.
Okay.
But if I want to be specific, I would say specifically the microwave hallway
Oh
scene.
my god, yes.
That was so good.
Yeah.
The microwave, the music in that moment, and the way that you're watching multiple scenes happen at the same time while you're still controlling Snake as his suit's exploding
Yeah.
and he's crawling and he's melting and he's just trying to make it through this hallway. When plot hole. Okay, maybe the robot could have just gone through by itself and entered the thing, but regardless, yeah, you witness and are experiencing an amazing thing. It was just so badass, and it was really awesome.
Yeah. No, I agree totally. I was on the brink of tears during that scene.
Oh yeah, me too. Because then, like, you see, like, the people in the boats, they're, like, dying. Then you see the guy who pooped his pants in the first Metal Gear Solid, and
Johnny
what's her
Sasaki.
name? Yeah, and they're, like, shooting each other while they're shooting bad guys while they're getting shot, and you think they're gonna die, and
Yeah.
it gets rough.
Yep.
Jeez.
Ah. And
I,
the entire time Snake is saying that I'm no hero, and he does that.
I, that's the one that you could sum up Liquid Snake, or is just he's just like
Solid Snake.
Solid Snake. The whole thing about Solid Snake is I'm not a hero, and that's what he says every single game. And his dad too, his pop.
Yep.
His pop says they're not heroes, but clearly they are. Well, in this one, he turns into a villain finally, but we'll see.
We totally forgot to change the title of of the stream. Dude just asked, "Where's the Dark Souls?"
I got your Dark Souls right here.
I got your Dark Souls right here.
Dark Souls.
Now Sergio has to fight a creature with a hole in his mouth. Aha! Good thing I got the spear of person that punches dicks.
Spear of person that punches dicks.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
spear. And in the shape of a person, and it has a fist, and I throw it, and it punches people in the dick. It's home seeking. It's a missile seeking. But no, my next moment will probably have to be the last scene of The Last of Us when they're walking into the camp at the end, and they're home free, and then you control Ellie for like the second time. And then and when it finally goes to a cutscene, she just says "okay," and it's just that ambiguity
Yeah.
is so great. I'm a filmmaker. I love ambiguous endings, and with that one, it's just like, it's not a clear-cut ending, but the emotions were definitely there, and it's just like, man, that is rough. What they've been through, and now she's willing to accept everything that he's done. Horrible or not, and he's willing to accept that himself too. It's really pretty great.
Yeah. No, that was a great moment.
Oh man. Let me see. Another one I'd have to say is like you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. When in Tomb Raider, the remake, when she goes in and starts, it's like midway through the game, and you think it's the end, and the whole place is on fire, and she starts screaming, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill all of you!" And she has like this grenade launcher. She's shooting at everybody. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
man, that is so badass. You don't get a lot of badass girls in video games, but that right there was super awesome. I felt like an awesome person shooting everyone.
I agree.
And my final one is climbing up the mountain and Journey. Man, Journey was so good. That was my game of the year when it came out. And just like, experiencing meeting other people without communicating and just going through a journey, no pun intended, and then just going through it, and then eventually you both die, but then you don't die, and then you're just that feeling of wonder and amazement that just shoots through you when you finally, I guess, go through the afterlife or whatever that is, and then you see that you're part of other people's games while you're shooting through the sky. It's a wonderful thing. And as you can tell, a lot of these moments are very emotional, and that's what's impacted me and how I view games. Like, I love emotional games and how they're able to allow players to get invested and be a part of what's happening. So that goes on to like Dear Esther, to any of these FPXs that are coming out, where they're they focused more on the core emotion than any of these than gameplay. Although I love gameplay, it's just I think the emotions there are so raw and real that people don't give enough credit to storytelling in video games, and I know that it's rising up and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. The ending of what's it called? The one with the time manipulation and Jonathan Blow.
Braid.
Braid, like that ending is incredible. Like once you start to realize that you yourself are the monster, the person that the princess is running away, it's just so crazy and all that stuff. So that's my top 5.
All right, that's a really good top 5.
AKA all the console games I thought I might play one day just got spoiled.
Yeah.
So I know how Red Dead ends. I know how Last of Us ends. Okay. Well, so much for that.
No.
Well, for the record, you
No,
don't know.
no. It's
You don't
okay.
know what happens in Last of Us. All you know is I said it ends ambiguously.
Reddit spoiled The Last of Us for me long time ago because
No.
when that game came out, every damn thread was, "Oh my god, did you guys see the ending? Oh my god!" So
Yeah.
Well,
It's not the ending that matters; it's the journey to the ending, and that's the
Yeah.
effect.
Agreed.
Margaret.
Continue.
Cody.
Yo,
Go on
so yeah, so mine, probably my first one. It kind of goes back to the first real multiplayer game I played. I think I was probably 13, 14. Barely even knew how to go online. I thought high ping was good. So
Yeah.
I went on servers where I had like 400 ping, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And of course, I'm talking about Battlefield Vietnam. And
Yeah.
that game was awesome. And my favorite moment from that game was, of course, the Operation Irving map, where the Americans all, the Vietnamese all start at their little base across the ocean, and the Americans all start at their little air base, and you just hop in a couple of Hueys. There's like a mountain in between, so you can't see the other side. So if you're on the American side, you hop in your Huey. You got like Flight of the Valkyries or Fortunate Son or something blasting, and you just pop up over that ridge, and all hell starts breaking loose. Missiles, flak. It's one of the most awesome atmosphere I've ever had in a multiplayer shooter like that. Or the opposite side of when you know what's coming as the Vietnamese, but you don't know if you can stop it, and you just start hearing that little faint dun 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 dun, getting close, and you're just like, oh, here it comes. That was one of the coolest shooters in my opinion, and the atmosphere and stuff like that was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that you're going into a Battlefield game is just a moment in itself, because that's something special back in the day,
Definitely. And yeah, and that was my first one. My second one, Mafia 2. This is probably the 2 biggest spoilers for this, so if you haven't played it, sorry. There's 2 characters that your character quickly befriends and becomes really close to, Henry and Joe. And I believe as a player you know that Henry's working for the FBI, but as a character you don't. And there's one point about halfway through the game you're supposed to meet Henry for to make an exchange with the Chinese for drugs, and you and Joe just show up and you're like, yeah, big shots, this is gonna be awesome, and you just start hearing the most horrifying screaming I've ever heard in a video game, and you're like, oh shit, what the hell is that? And you run up there, and basically the Chinese are just chopping Henry up in the middle of this park. And you just see this whole thing, and the screams, the voice acting was insane, because it's just I was like, whoa! And the whole game is pretty much laid back shooter, and all of a sudden, so you're just like, yeah, all right, cool, let's go to the next mission, shoot a couple guys, everything. What the fuck? It comes out of nowhere. And my friend and I were both playing it at the same time, about the same pace, and we both kind of got to that part, and we were just like, oh, holy. That was, whoa, no, one of the most messed up things I've ever seen in a game. It left me pretty scarred. The payoff is, of course, that you get to do a mission right afterwards where basically you and Joe pretty much gun down every Chinese gangster in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Get revenge. So, and then there's a moment again at the end where, again, the whole game, you and Joe have been good friends. You guys make some mistakes. The mafia turns on you, but you're able to turn things around towards the end, and you think things are going well, and they're telling you like you're a made man now, and everything's good. But you leave at night, and you realize they're taking Joe into a different car than you.
No.
And you're going, what's going on? He's, don't worry about it. Joe will catch up with you later. And you're driving away, and I can't remember exactly what it says, but it's basically, oh, I only made a deal for you. We didn't say anything about Joe. And the last thing you see at the last moment of the game is, your character's face, and then a gunshot in Joe's car. And you're like, what? No. So first they fuck with me with Henry, and then you're like, all right, I'm okay. I can handle this, and then they kill Joe. It's like, what the... that game had a lot of tearjerker moments for that.
Yeah.
That scarred me. And I went into that thinking it was totally just like a Mafia 2 Grand Theft Auto, like Mafia.
Yeah.
Oh, this will be great. Not like a filler coaster. So, that moment, that game was a big surprise. Probably one of my favorite games, so definitely.
Yeah.
And then my final three are kind of a collection of moments. I have to, of course, mention Dragon Age Inquisition. I don't want to mention anything too spoiler of that, but there's at least 4 or 5 just insane story parts where you're just going, I can't believe what just happened. The choices they force you to make are insane. It's as I've said before about Dragon Age Inquisition, BioWare got a lot of shit for Mass Effect 3 for how much they kind of erased and retconned everybody's choices and just said, here's your 3 choices, this is how everything ends. So Dragon Age Inquisition, they said, fuck it, you want choices? We'll give you choices. And you get to make, some insane choices throughout the game, and there's some of the best moments. Most people here, I think, who've played it, when you get through Haven, the first part of the game, and you get that big triumphant moment where, like, oh god, like, really early in the game, you're having a face-off with the big bad guy, and everything goes to hell, you barely make it out, and there's just such... You think everything's lost, and then you realize, like, hey, we can rebuild, we can get back at this guy.
Yeah.
And the music and the scenery, the lines in that moment, there's a really cool question, where everybody's fighting over, everything, like, we're lost, everything's messed up, and you just walk out, and they all start pretty much singing a song of worship to you. And you're going, oh, wow, okay, I'm more important than I thought I was, and a couple of moments like that, and then some of the choices you have to make towards the end of the game were just insane. I could write a top 5, top 10 moments of video games just on Dragon Age Inquisition. There's just so many damn good moments in that game. But I don't want to say too much because it is a relatively recent game, so it's a little too recent to spoil too much.
The thing about that game is that the bad guy, you're actually the clone son of him, and he has a phrase called "Would you kindly?"
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Your Dragon Age guy was on an airplane over the Atlantic Ocean, and then
secretly
went to hell.
He's playing Max Payne 3 on his Vita. So
yes, you have to beat Max Payne 3 on his Vita first, and then you get to play Dragon Age.
Yeah. And
even the graphics are properly downgraded for that.
Exactly. Yeah. Them pixels though. But and then of course BioWare is pretty much all my major moments are pretty much BioWare games.
I forgot to totally talk about BioWare, so I'm glad you are doing that.
Because of course Dragon Age has plenty, but of course Mass Effect, that game got me through some really tough times in high school, so it's real personal to me. And there's just some the ending of Mass Effect 1 where everything's going to hell and you're just trying to defend the Citadel and you get your first real taste of like crazy decisions you have to make. That's amazing. You know, when you finally get to the bad guy and he blows his own brains out so you don't have to
Oh,
fight
man.
him. I mean, that was such a big thing. You know, the
Yeah,
idea of
the
like,
fact
oh, I'm going
that
to finally
you
get
have
the
to
bat.
fight-
Yeah. Finally get that boss fight and he just does it for you. But
Yeah.
twist, you know. Like, whoa, I wasn't
But-
expecting that.
I want you to make sure that you give yourself more credit. He didn't just do it. You forced him to do it
True.
because
Yeah.
of your talking skills.
Yeah. And you know, and then kind of going full circle in Mass Effect 3, the ending of that, where you're attacking the Citadel now. You know, you have to. The whole universe is riding on you. You've gone through all 3 games, but especially you know the last game. You've built up this coalition of different races, and you know it's a suicide mission. Everybody, all these other races know it's a suicide mission, but it's do or die. And you know that cinematic that plays when you all first pop out of hyperspace or whatever they use in the Mass Effect universe, and you see all the different ships, you know, different ships depending on which races you've worked with. It just, you know, the ending of itself might not have been that good delivering on your choices, but that battle scene made everything worth it, you know, to me, because that you get to see that those guys are there because I helped, you know, I convinced them to be there, and it's one of the only games you get to really see you know, multiple really badass space battle scenes. So I got to give it props for that alone. You know, Bioware does an amazing job with those cinematics. So,
Yeah.
and then my final one, of course, is same thing, series based Assassin's Creed. You know, there's not necessarily any particular moment. I guess more so just it's not so much what happens in the moment as they've done such a good job in their games of really connecting you to these characters that moment where the game's over and you know there's not another one, you know, it's the last, you know, Ezio's farewell, you know, or Black Flag, you know, Ezio and Haytham Kenway are Edward Kenway, probably two of the best written characters in any video game around. And when, you know, especially the ending for Black Flag, where you've played this whole badass pirate, and the end of the game is just you sitting on a ship, a really emotional song playing, and he's just sitting there talking to his daughter. You know, it's so like, damn, I was crying. You know, it's like I'm not ready to get you up, man. They were such good characters. You know, that moment right there for those two games in particular just kind of ripped my heart out because I was not ready to give those guys up. They did such a good job.
They even redeemed Altair a bit because he was kind of just whatever for the first game, right?
Yeah.
And in which one was it? Revelations, when he was like hobbling up that mountain, and then he just like gave the signal for all his minions to kill everybody on that mountain. Man, that was pretty badass.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the writing in those games can be hit and miss at times, but the characters, the writing of the characters in particular, is almost unbeatable. You know, anybody who's played through the Assassin's Creed 2 games, you know, knows Ezio's the man. You know, everybody wants to be Ezio.
I want to give a shout out to Assassin's Creed Rogue that came out for PC because
I hear it's good.
that game's the bomb.
I'm thinking about getting it because I need more
It's
pirate
way
action.
better than another Assassin's Creed game that came out last year.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Jordan.
All right. I'm pretty sure all the games I'm about to talk about are, well, they're way older than all the games you guys are going to be talking about.
Good.
Probably.
That's good.
So I'm going to start with the most recent of them, which is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. The moment in particular that I'm talking about is when you are fighting Richter in Dracula's throne room, basically, and you kill the little ghost that's controlling him, and then the second inverted castle falls down from the sky, and you have to go inside the inverted castle and go through all that to defeat Dracula. Like that moment, it blew my mind because like as you're going through the game, whenever you save it or whenever you load your file, it gives you a little percentage. You know, it says like 89%, 95%, and like I got all the way to the end to where I fight Richter, and I was at 99%. I was like, oh sweet. So I beat him, and that gives you the 100%. But then once that happens, once you defeat the ghost and save Richter, basically, the inverted castle comes down, and guess what? You have to do 200% to complete that game entirely. And to this day, people are still finding out ways to like break the system and go past 200% somehow. And it was just so insane because it was already a full game at that point. Like when you get to Richter finally, and you think it's the end, and the second castle comes out, and you're like, there's more to this game? Like, you already put, like, 15, 20, 30 hours into it, and then there's still more of it to play. Like, that was just an amazing, amazing moment. And
I love moments like that in games where you just, like, you think it's over, and it's only just begun. You know, Dragon Age Inquisition has that good moment, too, where, you know, you get through that tutorial area, and you're like, you've been playing 10, 15 hours, and, you know, this feels like a pretty much enclosed, you know, hey, this could be its own game. Like, this is good. And then, like, oh, no, this is just the cold open, guys. Now the game starts. You know? Stuff like that where they just completely blow you away like that. Right? Wait, there's more? You know, that's the best part, the best surprise. Yeah. It's always good to find out, hey, this game I paid money for, there's more of it than I thought.
There's more.
Yeah.
Instead of less.
There's more left.
Yeah.
There's way more to go. So that's my number 5. Number 4, I'm gonna have to throw it back to Final Fantasy VII, the seminal PlayStation JRPG. The moment in particular that I'm referring to is the very, very, very end of the game when you defeat all forms of Sephiroth, and then you know, everyone left like, oh, job well done, guys. Let's get out of here. And then Cloud's just standing there with Tifa, and he's like, no, this fight is not over yet. And all of a sudden, goes into a cutscene and goes through the winding tunnel. All of a sudden, you see Sephiroth just standing in just a plain black room, basically, just plain black. And then you go into a battle. It just shows Sephiroth on one side, Cloud on the other, just facing each other. Just it does all these like cuts, looks at their faces, and then all these things swirls around them. But while this is all happening, Cloud's limit break gauge is slowly filling up. And then the second it's Cloud's turn to fight, he gets his limit break. And if you did everything, if you collected all the things you needed in the game, you would have Omni Slash at that point. So right when it's your turn, you do Omni Slash, which is just a barrage of like 50 hits, just wailing on Sephiroth and then there's just a final like death blow.
Denied.
And yeah, and then you just destroy Sephiroth, and like that's it. That's his consciousness. You destroy the consciousness of Sephiroth, and he's gone completely. And then once that happens, Cloud wakes up, and then it turns out the Northern Crater's all falling down around him, and Tifa's like, "Wake up! Stop being in a trance!" And then, you know, they pull each other out, and then they get on their airship, fly out, and just watch basically the Earth fight against a meteorite that's about to destroy everything. And it was so cool. It was such an awesome way to end that game. Like, for the record, like, that's the only RPG game where I felt like, God, give these guys a break. They've been through so much. Right? That's the only, like, I was exhausted by the time I finished that game. Not because I've been playing for like 80,000 hours, but because, like, emotionally, like, what these characters were going through, I was just like, jeez. Yeah, no, it's a shit show the entire time for them. Like, I know, it's just, oh, God. And the funny thing about Final Fantasy that gives me just infinite amounts of consternation is just the way Cloud Strife is depicted nowadays. Like, now, if you watch Final Fantasy, Advent Children, or any other game that he's in other than Final Fantasy VII, he's always like a depressing, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm just not good enough, blah, blah, blah. And that's not who he was at all in that game. Like, when you first meet Cloud Strife, he's he's a cocky bastard. He's like, yo,
Yeah.
I used to be in Soldier. I'm the shit right now, right?
But the
then
thing is, that game beat him down. That he became that other Cloud.
Yeah.
Now he's like, I want to
But then
die.
here's the thing, right at the end, right before you fight Sephiroth, Cloud's like, all right, guys, let's mosey. And then Sid goes, seriously, dude, we're about to fight Sephiroth. And you say let's mosey? Be a leader for once. And Cloud thinks about it, like, let's move out. You know, it's just a funny moment before you have to go into this final epic fight. And
Remember
like,
that time where he cross dresses?
yes. Like, there's no way this is the same guy that's in these other games and movies and stuff. That just never was who Cloud was. Like, it makes no sense. Granted, he's like that in a few points because he's like, I don't know who I am. He finds out who he is, and he's like, I'm cool with this. But,
On
yeah.
a related note, just a special shout out to the ending of Crisis Core. That's
Yes. Which is essentially the beginning of Final Fantasy VII.
it. Yeah. It was a nice tie-in.
Yeah. Shout out to Zach. Anyway, so number 3 would have to be, it has to be a Metal Gear game. I would say Metal Gear Solid 1, just the game in its entirety, or at least the final fight between Solid and Liquid. But I'm not going to say that one. I could go with Metal Gear 2 when you
The ending?
No, not the ending. Just when you beat the tanker and then Raiden shows up and you're like, what? You're not Snake anymore. You're using this guy Raiden.
Are
I
you
could see
saying
that.
that it's not when you fight the president wearing rollerblades and with samurai swords?
That is also an amazing moment. You
But the thing
fight
is,
the
you're
president
on
of the United States, who's basically Doc Ock with 2 samurai swords, while you have one and he has rollerblades on.
and not
Why
to
not?
mention, you were on a boat that crashed through the capital of the United States.
Yeah. That game, oh, there's so many amazing things, but I'm not picking that either. And I'm not picking the ending to 4 because Sergio already picked that. And I'm not even gonna pick the last fight between Solid and Liquid.
Give me the correct answer.
I am picking the end of Metal Gear Solid 3
I knew you were gonna do this.
when you're playing as Naked Snake, Big Boss himself, and you have to kill your teacher, the boss, and then the second you're just fighting in this field of white flowers, and it's just a really awesome fight. And as you're going, the fight's going on. In the background, you hear like the main theme of the song start playing until like right when you defeat the boss, like the song crescendos and it's like completely perfectly well timed. And then when she finally dies, that field of white flowers, blood red. All the flowers just turn red, and it's just a crazy, like an amazing moment. And then like the last thing you see is Snake standing at the boss's grave, just saluting her because she was a patriot the whole way through, and because of circumstances, she had to be a bad guy. Like,
Yeah,
it's so heartbreaking. Like,
she still tried to serve her country at the end.
till the end, she served her country. She served America to the very, very end.
Yeah.
And because since she died, that was the moment Big Boss decided, no more. No, this isn't for revenge. This isn't for anything. This is for her, basically. Like,
For the record, the snakes, meaning solid snake and naked snake,
yeah.
they're the other characters that I feel exhausted by when I beat Metal Gear Solid 4,
Yeah.
and I'm sure when I beat Ground Zeroes, I'm going to feel the same thing. Or excuse me, Phantom Pain. It's
Phantom
like
Pain,
at the end of 4, I was just exhausted, just like in 7.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like, there's again the life of Naked Snake, and so I was like shit show the entire time.
Yeah, it's just the worst.
The absolute worst.
Yeah.
So my number 2 moment is gonna go to a little RPG called Chrono Trigger.
Mm.
Chrono Trigger is my all-time favorite, like my favorite RPG of all time. Like nothing can top it in my book. It's just this incredible story about time travel and like changing the fate of the world and all these things. And it's made by a dream team of people. It's made by I forgot his name, but the dude who created Final Fantasy. It's scored by the guy who did Dragon Quest. No, it's made by the guy who did Final Fantasy and the guy who made Dragon Quest. So they collaborated. It's the artwork is done by Akira Toriyama, who is known for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. He's the guy who did all the artwork for those games and also for Dragon Quest. It marks the first time that Square and Enix actually collaborated on a project together. It was like the first time they ever dated, and then they finally became a whole company later on, like 20 years later. But the moment in particular that I'm talking about is when you're fighting the last boss, Lavos, and as you're fighting him, you find out quickly that you're not going to win this fight. Everyone gets downed immediately. And then a character, Magus, runs up and he tries to fight Lavos, but he gets defeated too. And then another person walks up, tries to fight Lavos, gets defeated. And as Lavos is about to destroy everybody, the main character, Kronos, stands up and stands against Lavos by himself. And he gets obliterated. He literally gets disintegrated. Like, you see him get hit, and then his body just dematerializes. Like, he's gone. And the game keeps going. So you start to like, everyone's like, where's Chrono? But then they find out he's gone. He's dead. And at that
Chrono
point, you have
no more.
Yeah, basically, he's gone. And at that point, you have the option to, just go about the rest of the game, finish it out, beat Lavos, save the world, or you can embark on a side quest, which has you traveling through time to rescue Chrono in the moment he gets killed. And if you do that, of course, you get him back in your party. The entire game, Chrono's always your leader. He's always in your party the entire time until he dies. And then when you get him back, then you can switch him out whenever you want. He becomes like everyone else in the party. Like, you find out, you can use anyone at this point. Anyone can lead. Anyone can be in reserve. So that was such an amazing moment, and like that's one of the reasons why I wasn't too affected by Aerith dying in Final Fantasy VII, because like I've seen this before. Yeah, character dies, and it's whatever. I've already felt it before with Chrono Trigger. So yeah, that was just a fantastic moment. And my number one moment shouldn't really come as a surprise to most people that know me. It happens at the end of Super Metroid when you're fighting Mother Brain, and you break the canister. Mother Brain gets up in her gigantic biomechanical body, and as Samus, you exhaust all of your missiles, super missiles, everything you have, and Mother Brain just hyper beams the shit out of you, so much so that Samus can't even stand up anymore, and she's right on the brink of death. But right before Mother Brain can, put out the killing blow, the baby Metroid that you saved in Metroid 2, the one that you've been chasing the entire game, rolls up. The Super Metroid itself rolls up and grabs Mother Brain by the freaking head and just sucks the life out of it. And then when Mother Brain gets petrified, because that's what happens when things get sucked by Metroids, the Metroid goes down to Samus and just starts replenishing in her life. But as this is happening, you see Mother Brain start coming back to life. It starts rebooting itself, and then it wakes up, and it starts attacking the Super Metroid as it's healing you. And then right when you get full health, Super Metroid tries to go and attack the Mother Brain one last time, but it gets killed. It lets out its death cry, and the body falls onto Samus, and that simple act awakened Samus's Hyper Beam, which is the strongest beam she has. It's basically a combination of what Mother Brain had, and the Metroid just sucked it out of Mother Brain and gave it to Samus, essentially. And with that, you decimate Mother Brain. Mother Brain is no more. You kill the shit out of Mother Brain. and then the planet explodes. But yeah, those five things, those five games, really, those really shaped how I view games, how I play games. Just, I mean, Castlevania created the collector in me. Like I had to go get everything. Um, Metal Gear made me really, really appreciate intricate storylines and things like that. Final Fantasy VII really solidified why I really enjoy RPGs. Shit show the entire time, but you can always triumph in the end. Chrono Trigger just another example. It's just stellar storytelling and music and just everything just works together so perfectly. It's like a perfect blend of gameplay and story and music, and it's fantastic. And Super Metroid, it's just my favorite game of all time. Like,
It's a classic.
it's a classic.
It is classic.
If you look at lists of best games of all times, you'll always see Super Metroid on there because that is a game that is so important to the video game industry. Like, it's in my opinion, it's way more important than a thing like Zelda. Zelda's a great game in its own right, but it's not as important as Metroid. It's just not. There's so many games nowadays that are directly inspired by Metroid and Super Metroid at that, and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. But yeah, those are my top 5 moments. So Shane, I believe that just leaves you.
Yep.
Save the best for last.
I don't know about that part, but hey, whatever. I like these gaming moments. So I'm gonna kind of go in quasi chronological order, except for one thing, which will be my number 1.
Yeah.
So first one will be Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun.
Yeah,
Which-
girl.
To me, was the pinnacle of the Command and Conquer series. Not
Not Red
take
Alert?
that
Hater.
whatever way you
Red
want.
alert. Hater.
And I wanted mostly to call it out because it's one of the high points of that era of games that had live action cinematics,
Yeah.
which were
Good old
completely
days.
ridiculous.
Wait, who was in that? Who was in the live action cutscenes of that game in particular? A famous person.
Nobody famous.
Kane
Yeah, there's
is kind
famous
of Kane is famous.
Kane
on the
is
internet,
famous.
but
Yeah.
famous for being
Internet
Kane.
famous.
Was
Not
George
necessarily.
Get it?
Was that the one with George Takei? No, that was Red Alert
Yeah.
3.
George Takei? I don't remember that. Well.
George Takei was in Red Alert 3.
Mm.
Little
Red Alert
known
3
fact.
wasn't that memorable though, so explain
No.
probably why I don't remember.
Cypress.
I can't remember
Really?
anybody famous.
No, now that Sergio says it, I feel like there was somebody in it that was actually pretty. Michael Biehn.
Oh, Michael
Wasn't
Biehn.
Mm-hmm. And James Earl Jones.
Oh wow,
Mhm.
he was. In
I
that?
totally forgot those guys were in there. Michael Biehn
Oh.
was GDA. That's yeah. I just liked Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun because it was really good storytelling for an RTS game.
Yeah.
And you could really tell that this was the conflict between Nod and global GDA.
Yeah.
We'll just say GDA. This was the ultimate showdown between the two, and it was over resources. That's what it boiled down to. And there are a few things out at that time that kind of made me appreciate that more. It was the first time I watched the Dune movie where battling for sand, which is stupid, but whatever. It just shows people being really shitty to each other for resources.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just liked that era of gaming where we had live action cutscenes and it was really corny.
Yeah.
Wing Commander. Anybody?
Oh
Yeah,
man, Wing
come on.
Commander. Heck yeah, girl.
Okay, so that's my number 5. Number 4 is Neverwinter Nights. I'm gonna shout it out because it was a huge part of my childhood. I played that game for a good 2 or 3 years, and that
Nice.
was mostly, yeah, I had a single player campaign, whatever. You got through it, and I was kind of like, okay, cool. I learned how to play the game. The main part of those games was always the multiplayer. BioWare in those days was amazing, and they made a tool set for that game that probably hasn't been rivaled since. That basically let you create your own MMO. Basically,
Wow.
Basically.
it was you could build a giant world. You could have, I think the highest population I ever saw was up to 60 players, which obviously in comparison to MMOs of actual like World of Warcraft, that's tiny. But you have to think about it. There were thousands of those servers. There were thousands of worlds that people made. And you could go on and just log into any one of them, making your character, and just get lost in whatever you felt like that day. I mean, for me personally, obviously, I played mostly on my dad's server that he made, and that's probably why the game was a little more close to me, is because it was one of the opportunities I had to actually like bond with my dad over gaming. So, that's why that's there. You know,
Yeah.
it was a great multiplayer experience, and that's why I'm a little bitter about Neverwinter Nights 2. Cody already knows this, but I'm not going to say anything else about
I
it.
don't. I got Neverwinter Nights 2, and I was like, "Hey Shane, I got Neverwinter Nights 2. What have I gotten myself into?" And he just goes, "You got yourself into the worst of the two games." I'm like, "Oh wow, Leadus."
To be fair, Neverwinter Nights 2, it was being made by a different developer who were just trying to do justice to the series,
Obsidian.
and they were making their own version of it. So, kudos
It's
to them.
amazing going back, like looking. I've looked recently, just how many of the big games, like that Obsidian has had a hand in. You know, they've made a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff.
Yeah. So number
Next one.
3.
They didn't just make Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
They've made other things. So
Number 3 on my list is Jet Set Radio Future,
oh yeah.
which kind of ties into a general trend of. It was one of those games that I got with my original Xbox, but
Yeah.
I kind of stared at it. I was like, I'm never gonna play this, and threw it off to the side. It's honest as God's story. I got it with the Xbox, and I was just like, it came with the console. Throw away game. And then, boy, was I wrong. I came back to it, I think, a year after I got my Xbox because I was bored and I ran out of games to play. And I put it in there, and, you know, the art style, the gameplay of you just running around like spray painting shit, that level where you go out into the streets and suddenly cops are everywhere and you have to try and escape them. So to escape them, you have to freaking run up to them, spray paint them in the face, and then try and keep rolling away
As you do.
as you do. And I was just like, this game is actually amazingly fun. Like, yeah, it's a game that came with the console, but there's always those games that are just kind of like outliers, and then you go back near the end of the generation, because that's what I did, and played it, and, you know, it was just a really solid game. And the funniest thing is, because of the way they made the graphics, it still looks really good today.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
cel-shaded graphics, for some reason, they stand up way better than anything else.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah, like Cell Shade is basically like pixel art. Like that
Yeah.
stuff does not age ever. Like it's not like polygons. Straight up polygons don't do well.
no, they don't. And so I can appreciate those kind of games because they are the kind of games that you would initially look at and be like, no, I would never like that play it. Then you go back and you really enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah.
You know what game I did that to? Was Kingdom Hearts 1.
Mm.
I was like, oh man, this game looks so dumb. Whoa, my god, this game's amazing!
Yeah. So, and then number 2, obviously I have to give a shout out to Dark Souls, Demon Souls, that
The
series.
Souls.
I was wondering when that was gonna come up.
It's not
Bloodborne
quite number
Souls.
1, but it is number 2. I think the specific moment that I will always remember from that series, though, is near the beginning of Dark Souls 1. You go. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't played Dark Souls. I'm
Dude,
gonna
we've
put
been
a spoiler
spoiling
up because
so
I don't
many
want to.
things.
I don't want to ruin this moment for people. It's pretty good. Is you walk up a set of stairs. Seems like everything's going pretty well so far. You've been killing some basic, undead, whatever. They're pretty easy. Walk outside the door. Suddenly there's a fucking dragon right in front of your face. It growls at you. It looks like it's about to blow fire on you, and then it says, "Nah, fuck you," and flies away. But that moment right there is basically like, you better be ready for something to jump out of nowhere and destroy you
Yeah.
if you don't pay attention. And that right there basically sums up that entire series.
I gotta say, fuck Demon Souls. That game is way too hard.
Yeah. But the thing for me is it's never been about how hard the games are. It's just about that atmosphere of like constant dread. And
Oh
plus,
man, they're so
like,
good at that.
Constant
That's
Dread is
the-
literally me
those
playing
games
any
are the
scary
most-
game.
Yeah.
Those games are the most stressful games I've
They
ever
are.
played.
But I like it because it makes the atmosphere feel real, because you really feel like you're the character going through this shitty ass world, trying to make the freaking best of it.
Oh yeah,
And
that world is the worst.
it's like the most oppressive world that you could be in. And the fact that, another spoiler, beep, beep, is the fact that I think all 3 games end with you kind of like taking on the mantle of the head person in that world.
Yeah.
I just think that it's kind of cool that the story basically sums up to, you're going to start off at the bottom and you're going to work your way all the way to the top, and you're going to be the king. That's pretty much it. And so that's why I like those games, and I hope that a similar thing occurs for a game coming out next Tuesday, which I'll mention in a little while.
Definitely.
Finally, last but not least, and I'm surprised that nobody else brought them up, Blizzard Cinematics.
See, I didn't even think about that when I was sitting there thinking. That's true. Oh, curses you, Shane, and your smart thinking.
I assumed one of you was gonna bring it up.
Yeah, I was like, Cody didn't bring it up? Really? Alright, oh cool, I can talk about it.
I had too many things, man. I can
Yeah, no,
never narrow
there's a
it
lot.
down.
So, I'm gonna do some specific cinematics. I'm not gonna cover all of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, Blizzard Cinematics are like the pinnacle of gaming cinematics. They're pretty much rock solid.
Yeah.
From a story standpoint, some of their newest ones have been kind of hit and miss. But in my mind, I specifically think of like obviously the late 90s, early 2000 Blizzard, Warcraft 3, Diablo 2, and of course StarCraft.
Yeah.
Now, the ones that I want to talk about specifically that have always stuck with me, Intro to Lord of Destruction with Belial walking up to the gates and just being like, "Hey, King, come out here." And the guy just wanders out and is like, "Go away, demons, I don't want you here." And Belial just blows the guy up.
Yeah.
Like, what? This is how the game starts?
Belial, Lord Wise.
I thought it was Bale.
Or Bale, yes.
Yeah.
There.
And Bale's like just some dude chilling in a throne. He's like,
Yeah. He's just chilling out on the throne. He doesn't seem that much concerned, and he just blows the guy up with his mind. I'm like, huh.
Can we all agree that Mephisto was just a punk?
Mephisto was just a punk. He didn't do shit. I'm sorry. He did not do shit in Diablo 2.
Right.
Mephisto was basically there as an introduction to Diablo. No.
Yeah, like.
So Bale definitely was like a badass villain, and he got the appropriate badass intro for Lord of Destruction.
Yeah.
Next ones would probably be Warcraft 3 following Arthas.
Oh.
All the stuff with Arthas in that game was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
His storyline was pretty much the only storyline that I cared about. As much as I hate to say it.
His storyline was the only thing that mattered, really.
Yeah, I mean, Thrall was in there, and I know everybody has a freaking boner. Well, sorry. A certain man with the name starting with C.
My man, Chris Metzen.
has a giant boner for Thrall, and I just don't care.
Green
I
Jesus.
don't.
It's all about that green Jesus.
Come on.
Yeah.
I come on. The best thing about Warcraft is that as you're playing as Arthas, he's like he's such like a standard like goody good Boy Scout. You know.
Yeah.
Put him to go somewhere. He's like, for my father, the king. You know, like.
Yeah.
And my thing is, favorite parts of Warcraft 3 were where he's in Stratholme and he has to decide, do I really want to keep hunting down this demon and let all these people die, or do I save the people? He basically says fuck the people and keeps hunting the demon and lets everybody die.
Yep.
And Uther is just kind of standing there like, dude, what
are you doing, boy?
Well, that was like
What would you
when I first started playing World of Warcraft. I started playing during Wrath of the Lich King, like right after it came out.
Yeah.
And most of the dungeons in that game, not a whole lot goes on story wise. And I was paying attention to stuff, but I didn't know about like the old Warcrafts and things like that. So when you get all of a sudden you run into Culling of Stratholme, I'm going, whoa. Okay, this is why this guy's an asshole. All right,
Yeah.
because as much as people hate on how long that dungeon take because of the lore stuff, it did teach you a ton in a very compact experience of like, this is why you should be afraid of this guy and why he's a douche canoe and you need to kill him.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I never asked you guys this. Did you guys play Warcraft before playing WoW?
Yes,
I did not.
I did.
I don't know
So
why I
good?
never got into Warcraft. It just never did.
Yeah.
I actually played Warcraft 1, 2.
I played StarCraft. That was literally my first game.
Yeah. Shane, do you remember in Warcraft 3 the teaser trailer for WoW?
Yes. It was so... It was, like, so uninteresting to me at the time. I was just like, what? What are you trying to do?
Yeah, I remember I saw that. I was like, that'd be pretty cool. Like, you get to, run around this world or whatever, but, whatever. And then WoW comes out, like, oh my god.
Yeah. It was like a game changer.
Yeah.
And of course, I guess the other part of that is the ending cinematic for Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne, where Arthas walks into the throne room. It kind of parallels the beginning where he's like this, the goody good boy,
Yeah.
has never done anything bad. And then he walks in, he's like dark, got white hair, looks all grim, and he walks up to his dad and is just like, beep, you're dead. Like, oh, okay, I guess he's really evil now.
Just in case
Very
you
evil.
weren't quite sure, we're gonna have him murder his dad.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
after you kill Uther, after Frostmourne kills your dwarf buddy,
yeah.
like,
After everyone dies around Arthas. And then I think for the final thing, and then I'll close, is, of course, I really appreciated how they wrapped up that story with the Wrath of the Lich King, and specifically shout out to the intro to Wrath of the Lich King.
yes.
I will watch that any day of the week and
Yes.
still feel chills.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Just the voiceover by the king saying like, "One day you will be king," and and you know already Arthas is just like this fucked up dude who doesn't care about anything
Yeah.
anymore. And it's like, I just appreciated that they gave him a real send off.
Yeah.
Do I agree with the ending for the expansion? Whatever. I'm not going to talk about it, but specifically that intro cinematic for Wrath of the Lich King was just awesome, and I think that was a good culmination of what Blizzard has done with their cinematics for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that opening cinematic was just perfect. And I kind of, every time I see, you ever remember the Man of Steel trailer?
Yes.
When I first saw that trailer, I was like, this is like Warcraft. This is Wrath right now.
Really, it was like exactly like the Warcraft intro.
You're destined for greatness, my son. It's like, this is Wrath right now.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, hey, that trailer was good,
Yeah.
and considering what the movie was like,
Mm. That was a disappointment. But you know what isn't a disappointment, guys?
What was that?
What are you playing and what are you looking forward to?
I am waiting for my computer to be fixed. It should be ready tomorrow or Monday.
Well,
And that's when I play Alien Isolation.
let's be honest here. Nothing matters except for Bloodborne.
Hell yeah,
Nope.
that game's gonna be good.
My cat agrees, even though she looks very angry.
I really have to decide. No, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm just gonna buy it.
Just buy it. Just do it. Jump off the cliff. Purchase.
There's so many other things I have to play, but I really want to play Bloodborne.
I have my collector's edition pre-ordered, and it will be delivering on Tuesday.
All right.
Alphabet.
But in the meantime, Shane, what are you playing?
I actually did not play anything this week, which is surprising. Most of it was me watching TV shows and doing other things. Which, by the way, shout out to Danger 5. It is a great show.
I was curious about watching that.
Mhm.
I love it. I know a lot of people say that you'll like it even more if you're high, but I don't really need to be high to enjoy it. It's fucking amazing.
Oh, you
And of course,
funny ass giants.
Shout out to The Flash, which came back this week and was fantastic.
In a big goddamn way.
Yes,
Most
but
shows.
me and Cody could have like an entire podcast
Oh, yeah.
dedicated to The Flash.
Let's just say they're speeding through the plat. We had to have one pun tonight, guys.
Okay, that's it. I
Almost
quit.
say He went too fast.
Yes.
Sergio, I would ask you, like, what are you playing? But since your computer's destroyed, what are you looking forward to playing?
I'm looking forward for Alien Isolation, replaying Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
Castlevania, Lords of Shadows, a lot of games actually. But
Yeah.
I really want to replay Tomb Raider, and I also want to replay Alan Wake.
Ooh, Alan Wake is a really, really good game. Wait, Lords of
Mhm.
Shadow 1 or 2?
One.
Oh, 1 is really good. 1 is really, really good.
Yeah, I knocked my shorts off.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Fantastic.
But yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. I should be getting my PC back either tomorrow night or Monday.
Sounds good.
Hmm.
So, Cody, what are you playing? What are you looking forward to?
I went back to Guild Wars 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was totally not planned or anything. My friend, but instead of them knocking the price down when it went buy to play, they raised it back up to 60. So thank you, Bethesda. You know. So
Nope,
instead of doing
ZeniMax,
that, we were
not
just like,
Bethesda.
oh, that's right,
ZeniMax.
ZeniMax, not Bethesda.
that's right. Thank you.
ZeniMax.
So
Messing up.
yeah, so instead of doing
We
that,
tell you
we
it
were
was
like,
ZeniMax,
hey,
not Bethesda.
we
What?
I just want you to know that it's ZeniMax, not Bethesda.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So
All right.
did they make Max
Cody,
Payne?
did you know that it's ZeniMax, not Bethesda?
Yes.
Why, yes. I did.
So yeah, I've been. They do this weird thing though. It's cool. Where they
They make you think
basically
it's Bethesda, but it's actually ZeniMax.
yes.
Damn it.
When you make a
Alright, anyway,
character,
continue.
like I guess every year that you've had a character, they
Yeah.
give you a birthday gift basically. And
Oh.
there's a couple like boosters in it that are but the main thing of it is you get a token that gives you a free level 20
Yeah.
character, and then you get a token, like a little token that gives you basically a 24 hours of in-game time of like plus 100% experience, karma, gold, like everything. It's an amazing
Yeah.
bonus. So I had like before I left, I only had like one character I leveled up, but I had like 7 characters that I just made that were sitting there at level 1. So I came back and I'm just like, yes! All the level 20s! All the boosters! This is amazing! So that was a big bonus for me to come back, is when I found out
Yeah.
about that. I was just like, hell yeah. So I've been doing that. It's actually been pretty fun. They kind of messed with the new player experience a little bit in weird ways, but
Mm.
I've been enjoying it. It's been good times.
I think at this point my account is still hacked by somebody. Last time I logged into
Probably.
Guild Wars 2, my lady character was in a bikini in like some place I've never seen before. I was like, well, this is the thing that happened.
Yeah. And looking forward to Pillars of Eternity. That comes out Friday. I'm so goddamn hyped for that. That's Obsidian also.
People are already playing it though, right?
Yeah, well, I think if you kickstarted it or something, you get the beta.
Yeah.
So people have been
Sounds
playing the
alright.
beta for a while, but the actual like release is Friday, and it looks amazing. I'm so hyped for like another Baldur's Gate type game that with modern mechanics and graphics and all the nice things that we've gotten to make games a little bit easier to play since then.
Yeah.
You know, so and they've got some amazing writing team and stuff there, and it was interesting. I read Obsidian almost they ran to close because like Fallout New Vegas screwed them over so bad, and then they
I
decided
really like that
hell,
game.
yeah, it was a good game. They
Yeah.
they had some really screwy stuff with Bethesda and not getting paid because certain sketchy requirements weren't met.
And of course, don't forget
Oh,
they
God.
made that Stick of Truth game for South Park,
Yeah,
which apparently everybody seems to forget sometimes.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
you know,
but basically the thing with Fallout New Vegas is they need to get an 88% on Metacritic
And
to
they
get
got
a big
87.
bonus. Yeah, and they got 87.
That's what I did
Oh,
for the
that's
bonus.
nice.
Yeah, so
Incredible.
yeah, they were pretty much like they were in the pretty much the very edge of going down, and they decided, what the hell, let's try this Kickstarter thing, and they made boatloads of money on that Kickstarter, insane amount. I think it's the highest, or like one of the
It
top
was
three
the
at
highest,
least.
yeah.
Yeah, the highest Kickstarter ever made. So people wanted that kind of stuff, and they wanted it from Obsidian. So it looks like they delivered because everything I've read from people in the beta is, hey, it's absolutely amazing. So hyped for that. But that's about it for right
Sounds
now.
good.
Until Grand Theft Auto finally comes out. Ah!
So,
One day.
I guess. Yeah, one day it'll be out. So for me, I've been playing, Final Fantasy Type 0 HD and Final Fantasy 15, the demo. I finished out the main campaign for Resident Evil Revelations 2. Lots of problems with that with that final episode. But I'll probably talk more about that in the coming days. I'm gonna get some friends who have also played the game, or just have a big discussion about it. A nice, juicy spoiler cast. What else have I been playing? I got Helldivers, finally.
I might get it too, and then we should stream together.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, I just played the tutorial, but it really reminds me of Magicka, which makes sense, made by Arrowhead. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to just like digging into the meat and potatoes of that game. I am looking forward to Bloodborne because I want to put some time into that. And right now, PlayStation's having this huge flash sale. As a bunch of these games are like under $1.
Yeah.
So I bought so many games. I bought like Dino Crisis 1 and 2, like Mega Man X4,
Trying to get that,
Wild Arms 2.
that
Tokyo
Steam
Jungle.
library on your.
Tokyo Jungle.
Oh yeah, no, I already own Tokyo Jungle.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I bought so many games, guys. I just like nope, bye.
Trying to pad that library.
So my library is so ridiculously huge, guys.
Yeah.
It's, one of these days I might make a video just to show you how many games I have in
We'll
my
have to do
backlog.
a face-off, my Steam account versus your PSN account.
Oh God. Let's see. What?
Cody's Steam account will win.
Yeah, no, I think your Steam account will destroy my PSN account. But, although to be fair, my Steam account beats yours.
Yeah, somehow, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
which is weird.
So maybe combined Jordan's
Yeah.
Oh
backlog
God.
outdoes.
My backlog is just ridiculous.
We have to put qualifiers, like actually good games, not,
Yeah, right.
tiny indie games that were in humble bundles and things like that.
Yeah, you got your games are more games that you actually play and are interested in.
You're just like,
Mine
I gotta
is-
collect them all, Pokemon.
Yeah, mine is just like that. It's in a bundle. I'll buy it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Um.
That's always good when
Yeah.
we talk about some old game and you're like, let me see. Yep, I own that. I didn't know that.
Yep. It's, so yeah, I guess that's everything I've been playing and what I'm looking forward to. So, thank you guys so much for watching PCP, the Pixel Clicks podcast. You can find us on youtube.com/PixelClicksPodcast, twitch.tv/PixelClicksPodcast, facebook.com/PixelClicksPodcast, and all the other social media things. Pixel Clicks Podcast. Send us emails at gmail.com, PixelClicksPodcast, all those good things. Yes, that'd be great. But we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
And hopefully next
Ah.
week there'll actually be news.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Later!